Absolute pleasure to welcome fresh and steaming off a plane from the UK, Mary Bourke and Simon Clayton. Funny guys. They are married, but that's all I'm going to... That's the only time I'm going to mention it. Right? They're here to do some gigs with comedy.hk guys. Great bunch of guys. And yeah, well, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Let's make it very clear. Not husband and wife.
We're not a double act.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Not on stage, not like Burns and Allen, no.
We should be a double act, though.
Should be, yeah, we saved that for home.
Yeah, how does it work then? How does it work? What, you know... So
She comes up with really brilliant material and then I steal it when I'm not working with her. That's
when you're
generally,
at home.
yeah, there's, on stage.
Well, fantastic, fantastic. I'll tell you, in the sort of half an hour before we had a chance to meet today, I was watching some videos of you on YouTube. Absolutely hilarious. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the ITV4 thing?
Oh, yeah, it was ITV4. Yeah, I was doing a competition or something, and I had to do 4 minutes on TV.
Was it a competition?
It was a competition, yeah. Yeah, just a little clip from a competition, which I didn't get through, actually. I was beaten by somebody else. But yeah, it was a nice little clip, though.
The bloke, I just noticed the bloke said, da-da-da-da, and she's a woman.
Oh,
that is the worst thing. And you swore at him, didn't you?
I was really annoyed. It's like, you should never... Oh, it's
yeah,
so
it's common. It still goes on. Still goes on the
what is that all about?
on the English comedy circuit.
And she's a dancing dog.
Yeah, they just don't. Yeah, there's this perception they don't think women are funny. So it's like it makes it much harder when women have to go out and prove it.
Well, this is absolutely right. Prove it. This is. I'm glad we've got onto this topic. So basically, you're sort of emceeing the show.
Yeah,
there's some local comics as well.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's no lady. That's my wife.
Yeah,
But
that'll be all that. Yeah, that's Salon de Ning tonight
at the Peninsula.
Yeah, at the Peninsula Hotel, 8:30. That is tonight, and then on Friday we're at the Showtime at the Sunset Lounge, Le Meridian Cyberport.
Yes. Well, tonight's going to be an absolute cracker. Don't forget to take out that mortgage for your Coca-Cola.
Oh, really?
The cocktails are expensive. Yeah.
Well, that's Hong Kong. It's very. It's a bit, but you'll love it. They'll buy you free. They'll get you free drinks anyway. So you'll be sorted.
Just be the one. Yeah. Depending on how well you go down.
Tell me a bit. Hong Kong is now no stranger to comedy. There are 2 or 3 bunches of guys who are really shipping it in, getting guys like yourselves from overseas, and there's a real healthy, upcoming local bunch of funny people.
That's what you want. You need that, That's what the locals want to hear, their own voices, so that's
you're going to have a
important.
blast. Yeah. And you won't, in any way, get into any shtick about, oh, she's a woman, like that. Nearly said knob, but that guy, like that,
No, who should know better?
They
Do you know
should.
what I mean? Yeah. It's like you've seen women before. It's not that.
You must have had this chat so many times.
Oh God, yeah, loads of times. But I think it comes down to the fact that if you took 10 guys and you said to them, do they know a funny woman in their own peer group? I reckon the numbers would be about 3 out of 10, maybe 2. So every time a woman gets on stage, she's got to convince 7 out of 10 men in the room that she's funny.
But no, the worst thing is when they say, "Oh, it's a woman." You hear this kind of, "Oh no."
It's just it's like
you see, you're so used to it, aren't you? You can deal with it.
It's kind of all side.
Yeah, it's like saying, black people aren't funny, or there's
our next act is black. You never say that. Yeah.
But people do say our next act is a woman. Just to sort of let you know,
And
before
the
they
name
come
is sometimes a clue. So you don't have to announce it. Yeah.
You must. I mean, you'll use your face lit up there, like, been there, done that.
Yeah.
And this assumption that you've got to do Tampax jokes, you've got to do PMT jokes, you've got to do take my husband please jokes. Blokes don't just... You know what I'm saying?
I know. But that's the thing, it just reinforces the stereotype, because that's what they're thinking in their minds, some of them. I think, that's 7 out of 10. So... Is that
just your average geezer that goes to comedy shows these days? Certainly where you come from.
Yeah, I mean, that's at some gigs,
things are changing, though. I mean, there's a lot more women now than there was before. And I think things are changing.
Yeah, and they all come in different shapes and sizes, and sometimes they just get judged. Female comics, they get judged by the most successful ones, which are in the UK is Joe Brand or Sarah Milligan, but they're all different types, just like the men.
Well, let's try and be fair about this. Do many male comedians exploit something physical about themselves? Margaret Cho, very funny, always talks about her size. I suppose a bloke would do that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, they do. If they look distinctive, if they're tall, if they're fat, if they're bald. Yeah. I mean, I do mention it, but I wouldn't harp on about it.
Yeah, it just interests me, and we could be sitting here talking about, and I hate these conversations about women in power, women in business. So what? They're skilled and they're in the job, and that's that. So let's talk about what you do. What makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh?
What tickles you and makes other people laugh?
You mean me? What makes me laugh?
You personally?
I love listening to comedy podcasts. That's my big thing at the moment. I really enjoy that. I really do. Because I love the minutiae of comedy and people talking about gigs and comics I know. I really like that. I really enjoy that.
Is it the tiniest things that you would laugh about that they don't even know they've done? You know, there'll be a conversation, you'll crack up about something just really tiny.
Yeah, and also when they describe gigs, I can identify when they talk about if two comics are together talking about gigs and stuff. I can identify with that. I just find it funny.
What about you?
Things that make me laugh.
Just things that have brought you to where you are now, if you like.
I think you just want to be a show off. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
good though,
You want the attention. You like the attention. You just the idea of making a room full of strangers. Convince them that you're their friend for about a set period of time.
Convince them,
and that's what you're doing. And then when and you make them all laugh, and they didn't know you from Adam, sort of. But when you walked on stage, and they have that temporary love. Yeah, it's not even love; it's just affection.
But then you sort of create a rod for your own back, because when you're exhausted after doing a gig and you're in the bar having a beer, they go hello, and you're like,
yeah, I've got a joke for you. Or they if they're English, they say passive aggressive things like you were quite funny, not like you were brilliant. It's like you were quite funny. It's like they don't want to they don't want to overpraise you. That's
English.
But it happens everywhere. I mean, I worked in Durban in South Africa, and there's a predominantly Asian community there playing and a lot of them didn't want to acknowledge the fact that they enjoyed you. They just went, you're the comedian, or like, we saw you. And it's like, yeah, and
the worst thing is people say, yeah, I saw your bit on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think there must be something else.
Yeah.
Please put something else.
Well, at least I said I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, at least about like when you perform to them, they laugh, but then afterwards they don't want to acknowledge the fact that, oh yeah, I had a really good time, or that happens to me, or that thing you spoke about, yeah, that happened to my father, or.
Is it a typically English thing? I do want you to tell us a little bit about your experiences in Singapore in a minute, and don't worry, say what you like. But is it a typically English thing to underplay, to do the things you said, and then just to say something like, "Oh, my brother-in-law does a bit of stand-up,"
it's very passive aggressive,
and you're like,
isn't it? Yeah,
you're like, so,
yeah.
But you don't want to be arrogant, do you?
No, you don't. You don't want to be arrogant, and that's an English thing as well. Also. To hiding your light under a bushel a bit, really.
The thing about the American comics, the credits. That's a big difference, yeah.
What's that?
The credits, they always get, when they get announced on the stage, the MC will always tell the audience what they've done previously, whether it be, they've had a spot in a TV show or in a film, or they've got a new album coming out. And when American comedians play in England and they tell the MC, oh, mention this, I'm doing that, and it's like, people don't care.
They don't care because you're only as good as your last gig.
Yeah, but it's even worse, I think, you're arrogant.
Yeah, or you're only as good as the gig you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is what another comedian said, which I always think is cool. There's something to that.
It's worth remembering those things. It really is. I mean, nobody wants to be too arrogant and this, that and the other, but, it's your job, you're professional, and you need to sort of gauge, well, where am I going, how good was I, etc., etc. But people seem to think maybe you've got a day job. I should imagine.
They do. That's a common question. They do. They.
Did you make a living from this?
Do you make a living out of this?
That was Singapore. They always ask, do you make money from this?
Do you make money out? Or how much do you earn out of this as well? Especially if they're English expats in Singapore. How much do you earn?
Oh gosh.
How much do you earn? They're obsessed with money. Or it's either they're obsessed with money or they can't believe that you actually make money out of it. They think it's like a part-time thing. Like, what's your regular job? Surely you don't do this for a living,
Yeah,
do
I've
you?
got a party tomorrow. Would you mind coming round? You can do some sandwiches as well if you want to.
Yeah, but I mean, comedians will take a gig anywhere. So there's plenty of instances of comedians performing in people's front rooms.
I bet. And it's all grist to your mill, because all of these little faux pas and things, I bet you just keep them all in there, don't you?
Especially in Singapore, because people are always obsessed with money. Like, you'd always meet the expats afterwards, and they couldn't wait to tell you how well they were doing. And
yeah, that was a unique scenario.
You really noticed
we
that.
would count down our heads how quickly they would tell us that, we're doing really well.
Did you get name cards thrust in your face?
Oh, I had pockets full of business cards.
Business cards for industries that you had no use for whatsoever. But they always told
what
you.
is a hedge fund?
Yeah, oil. Don't care.
Yeah, I put it in my car. That's what I do. I've got a hedge in the garden. garden.
Can you come and cut mine?
Can you come and cut it?
Oh, we
Yeah.
still have asked them about their maids, because they always get a bit sheepish about the maids.
Yeah, they're slightly, again, you've got that English understatement and reserve. They're embarrassed about having a maid, you know. Some of
still
them
have
love
one,
it
though,
and
yeah,
accept
yeah,
it and, you know, really into it, you know, sort of wouldn't be out of place sort of like 100 years ago in England with having a, you know, with the class system and having servants. But others, you know, a bit more embarrassed about it.
And there's a weird kind of class divide. We went to the English club, and there's a very strange class divide between the kind of Essex boys who'd come out there kind of ducking and diving, maybe working in finance, with kind of the more posher kind of middle class
But
people.
they
Very
are.
strange.
They are. It's so interesting. It's going to be different in Hong Kong, I promise you. You're going to love the people here, guarantee you. But they're the sort of loads of money type, aren't they? No, well, lots of class, but
No,
it's
but
all
there's also
third.
how lazy their maids were. That always used to, that made me laugh actually. We're at club going, oh, my maid, she's so lazy. It's like, you come from Essex. You used to be a secretary about 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
you'd be
Get
doing
over
it yourself. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And all
Yeah,
of a sudden you're like a dowager duchess.
and
It's
that'll
just-
be the difference, seeing what that'll be how to spot it, the difference between Singapore and Hong Kong. What people say to us after the show.
I'll tell you a way to spot the difference between Singapore and Hong Kong. After your gig, you will be able to find a taxi here. Blimey, O'Reilly.
Yeah, and it won't be sort of taking your life in your own hands so much. The people, at least the drivers here, do indicate when they're changing lanes.
Occasionally. But the thing is, it is very different. And the reason I brought this up is because there's always, well, I'd like to say a healthy rivalry between Hong Kong and Singapore, but it gets a bit punchy sometimes because people say it's all boring and that nanny state. But Hong Kong, I think you'll have fun. I mean, you know, you've only been here a few hours. I always like to ask people, is there anything that you notice straight away when you got off a plane? It could be a smell or a sight or just something.
Yeah, I mean,
the dried fish.
Oh, gosh.
Because when we were in, we're in
Shenzhen.
Yeah, all there is shops selling dried fish. I have no idea what they're selling or
a lot of jars containing dried things generally.
dried things. Yes,
Dried things.
Of various
dried
colours,
things.
various
Shops of dried
sizes,
things.
and various smells.
See, that part of Hong Kong where you are down there, it's kind of cute in a way because it's a bit more historical. You know, it's not a whole lot has changed. So it's
Right.
good if you want to get a flavour
Yeah.
of Hong Kong. Have a walk around. The cool thing is, so safe. So safe, this town. And we don't have the death sentence like Singapore, so you can do what you like.
I noticed that even though it's quite sort of, it's a very used city, it's very busy, very used, but people still put their cigarettes out in the bins.
They do!
They don't flick their cigarettes everywhere, and they don't also spit everywhere as well.
Well, that changed some years ago when, you know, SARS, the severe acute respiratory, and people were dying and getting this horrible flu.
Yeah.
Personal habits or in the street habits really changed. I mean, really changed.
What, the whole thing of like just spitting phlegm onto the
Yeah,
pavement, and that's
I mean, and again, in Singapore, you get fined for doing all that sort of stuff. They're very tough on that. But the thing is, the cool thing is it's organic in Hong Kong.
So people are like self-regulated.
yeah, just politeness, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's great. Anyway, just remind us once more, tonight, what time and where and
Tonight is at 8:30. It's Salon de Ning at the Peninsula Hotel.
Lovely.
And if someone comes up after us at the gig and tells us how much money they make, we'll be very disappointed.
I think we've laid out
Or do we do it for a living? That's it. Do you really do this for a living? Then we know they've heard this radio show.
Even I get asked that.
Oh, do you?
But that's a fair question in my case.
It's
No,
probably a
but
fair question in our case as well.
if you see them in the bar, just avoid them. A quick nod, a knowing nod should do it.
Knowing nod.
Absolutely.
Or rub your fingers together to indicate money. Do a mime.
What? Oh, the Essex thing. That said it all, didn't it? What? That's it. So after Hong Kong, what is it? Go home? I mean, I know you've
Go
been doing...
home and more work around the country and possibly in the summer, Austin, Texas. So.
An Edinburgh Festival then.
Yeah,
Get a prep for a solo
that's
show
what I
and
said in my
stuff.
blurb this morning, that you rocked them in Edinburgh. Tell me about that experience.
Edinburgh's insane. If you've never been, you have to go there for the festival. It's just insanity. 24 hours a day, there's something on all the time. You could actually watch shows from like 12 noon till about 2 or 3
Well, like
o'clock in
9
the morning.
in the morning, probably.
Yeah.
What about
It's
audiences?
amazing.
Are they so on side, the audiences?
Oh, they're great. They're really good.
Yeah, 60% of them are locals. So it's locals and probably 20% maybe other performers, and there'll be 10% tourists. There's not so many tourists, but I think that's also due to the economy as well.
Edinburgh's a beautiful place.
It's stunning, isn't it?
It's like
lovely,
walking into a
yeah.
movie set.
Yeah, now, you wouldn't have said that recently because they were building this tram system in Edinburgh, so they were sort of like turfing up loads of it, which they've realised they couldn't afford it, and they stopped short of it, and it was costing something like £175,000 per metre to build. So that was making a real mess of the place.
But it's like, and the food. I mean, I'm not a real food freak, but it's always something, you know. Something,
It is good, yeah.
There's a restaurant called Sweet Melinda's.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. There is some good. There's some good. There are good restaurants there, and it's not. And I think the whole thing with the fried Mars bars and everything.
That's a wind up.
That's just their little joke.
They do sell it. They do sell them.
There
Yeah,
are chip shops that do it. The chip shops are really good there. All run by Italians mainly, and they do fish and chips and ice cream. Just sort of like.
Well, that's something that I made me laugh. I mean, it's many years ago. I went to visit a mate in Manchester. The best chips were done by Chinese guys.
Yeah, it's true. It's true in Liverpool as well. They do the best chip shops as well.
How cool is that? Well, I'll tell you what, just before we put the lid on it for today, would you tell our listeners any websites or anything like that you want people to know so they can come and find out more about you?
Yeah, sure. I'm on Twitter at Mary Burke Comic, all one word.
Yep.
And just, but if you want to just see what we actually do, just put our names into YouTube, really. Mary Burke and Simon Clayton, two separate, you know, we've got separate clips up, so, but we haven't, yeah. I'm not on Twitter, I must admit.
You should be on Twitter.
I don't get it. I'm getting round to it.
Are you? Are you thinking about it?
I
I cause enough trouble on Facebook. That's the problem there. I just say the wrong thing, and then, you know, I've got a wife to, you know, tell me off or edit me. So you shouldn't have put that up there, but, you know, retract that, take it off.
Do you guys do Facebook much?
I do. It's good for, if you're a stand-up comic, it's good for interacting with.
Is there anything that really gets you? I mean, if friends of yours, I've got a joke with a mate of mine, anybody who writes the word, I'm blessed, you're like, and underneath, feeling blessed. Delete. Have you got one of those?
No, it's when people do those things like, I'm really upset at the moment, but I just don't want to say anything about it. Well, then don't say anything about it.
Yeah.
They're kind of fishing for sympathy, and people go, oh, poor you,
yeah,
what's
and then
wrong?
loads of people coming on the back of it.
Yeah, loads of people coming on, like, posting, are you okay, are you fine? And it's like, are you just attention seeking?
I enjoy the little links to websites about just weird things or strange things that you like.
Laurel and Hardy doing...
Laurel and Hardy dancing to Pretty Vacant.
Oh, it's amazing. Have you seen that clip?
That was a nice little clip.
Have you seen Laurel and Hardy doing Brokeback Mountain?
No!
Paul Whitehouse, stunning. That's all I've got.
I have seen it. Yes, I have seen it. Yeah, I have. That sort of thing can really just lift your day. Just like going on to Facebook and just seeing a clip. There was Wayne and Wayneetta Slob on a quiz show with Paul Whitehouse as that DJ.
Funny stuff, eh?
Smashy Nicey or whatever. And yeah, it was nice. That was good. So
it goes a bit further though when CNN did a thing like the different kinds of Facebook people, and it's quite true, a lot of it. The paparazzo who has to be the first person to tell you that Mother Teresa's been reincarnated or something. Yeah. But then you get the ones that say, this video will change your life. It won't change my life.
It won't.
No, it
and
won't.
it's always a TED talk that takes forever to get to the point. And they say something really obvious. You think, yeah, okay. You should spend more time with people you love. Thank you very much, TED Talk.
That's what you do need to be concerned with Facebook. Don't be too pompous. It's too easy.
And it's a permanent record.
That's the problem, isn't it? That's it. Once it's on there, that's it.
Now it's just, it is a permanent record.
That's why I stay away from Twitter. So it's like, you see...
We can delete it, I suppose, at least.
Tell me this, do you think in your business, I've got a couple of contributors on this programme and they're nuts about Twitter, they do it really, really well. If you're in the showbiz industry...
You have to be on Twitter.
Do you reckon it's Twitter?
Yeah, definitely.
It probably is, especially if you are doing jokes. It's a good way of testing them out. A lot of comedians will put up one-liners just to, see the feedback.
And if you get tons of retweets, that's usually a good indication.
Get the retweets,
that it's okay,
that's what Mary does. So she's, follow her on Facebook.
All right, how do we do that? Do it once again.
Mary Burke.
It's Mary Burke, just on Facebook, I'm
on
Facebook.
What's the address? Mary Burke Comic?
No, it's Mary Burke on Facebook. This is like who's on first.
No, on Twitter.
And I've already given this.
No, you want to know again.
Okay. You weren't even listening to what I was saying.
See, double talk. See, this is the crosstalk. We're doing
it's
the
Mary
crosstalk.
Burke Comic.
We don't do the husband and wife thing, of course.
Comic, no.
Pleasure to meet you both. You're going to have a fantastic time in Hong Kong.
I hope so.
And I promise you the audiences are going to love you. Mary Burke and Simon Clayton. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.